Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. Today is another day in my Natasha Denona looks series. And today the start of the show is gonna be the Natasha Denona bronze palette. So I have a few things to say about this palette. It's definitely not my favorite because of the color scheme, even though the formula it's beautiful. I think the shimmers tend to get lost in one another if I use two right next to one another. I feel like I'm using the same shade even though they're slightly different. So that for me, it's sort of a waste within a palette, and I would have given it a little bit more, I don't know, depth, lightness to it between the bronzes instead of all being almost the same shade. So that's the only complaint that I have. I love that it has a deeper shade. I hit pan on this one, using it basically as a replacement for a black. I really enjoy this palette. It's just that I feel almost every single look, if I'm not using these two, tends to look super similar. That being said, I have 5 pans in this palette, so I've used it quite a ton, and I heat pan in it right after I got it, and then I kept heating pan while the time was passing while using my Franken palette. So this is not a palette that I would even think to declutter, but it's definitely not my favorite from her. And like I always say, you guys, if you haven't been watching my Natasha Denona videos or my Natasha Denona series, I love Natasha Denona and I love the formula. So it's not about the formula when I talk about them. It's as a collection of singles or as the color scheme within a palette, because I almost never have anything bad to say about the formula. So if you want to see how I created this eye look, and then you can stay till the end of the video to see what I used on the rest of my face, then just keep on watching. So to start, I'm going in with the shade Sundown, which is this orangey shade right here as my transition, and I'm gonna build that up quite a bit with a Morphe JH30. For the second shade, I'm going in with Magma, which is this one right here. And the brush that I'm using is the Sonia G Classic Crease. And I'm gonna lower this color down a little bit, but I'm gonna intensify it a lot. It's gonna give the depth that you see here in the outer corner. With a small shader brush, which is the Morphe M213, I'm grabbing one of my favorites, which is the shade Deep Dive right here, which is a cream to powder, and I'm using that to smoke out the wing liner before actually creating a wing liner. And this cream to powder is so pigmented. You can tap off the excess, but this will basically not budge, and it's quite like a cream when you apply it, but it's not gonna smudge throughout the day. And then I'm using a small blending brush to buff the edges of what I did. Then with the Rapher 29, which is my favorite definer brush, I'm just gonna do a liner and I'm gonna create a wing, because that's gonna be underneath the wing with my actual pencil liner. Something that I've been using to just reduce the amount of fallout and not have to wet my brush for my metallic eyeshadows is to use glitter glue, and I'm also trying to finish this. This is the Too Faced Shadow Insurance glitter glue, and I'm gonna apply the tiniest amount before applying these metallic shades right here. And I could apply with my finger, but I have long nails, so I go in with my MAC 232, I think. And like I said, it's the smallest amount just to make the eyeshadows stick a little bit better. And then with the Morphe M2110, which is a Bolita brush, I'm gonna go in with True Bronze, which is this shade right here. And I'm gonna place it on top of the glitter glue. And I use pressing motions instead of swiping motions to just not create a ton of fallout, because these are very loose but creamy metallics. You would have to touch them, but when you swatch them they look super smooth, and when you apply them on your lid they do too, but you have to know how to apply them. If you don't want to even think about it, just wet the brush. And then one thing that I don't like about this palette is how similar everything looks, because right here in the middle I have silk and it looks pretty much the same as True Bronze when placed together. So I'm grabbing Silk, which is this shade right here, and I'm placing it right next to True Bronze. And then to just buff in that line of the metallic shade, I'm going back to Magma, which is the second shade that we use, and the Sonia G Classic Crease, and I'm gonna mesh them together, just blend them so that it looks more seamless. With my small shader brush, I'm grabbing Bliss, which is this duochrome right here, which is definitely not a highly pigmented duochrome, and it's basically not my favorite formula of eyeshadow from this palette. It doesn't look as my other Natasha Denona eyeshadows do, and I'm applying it as an inner corner pop of color because on this palette we can't truly have an inner corner highlight. We can't find an inner corner highlight. And then I'm grabbing my smaller blending brush, which is the M506 brush by Morphe, grabbing that same shade and applying only a little bit, adding the crease right here just to give another pop of color right here, but super soft. Now for my lower lash line, I'm grabbing the shade Rich, which is this one right here, Rich. And it's a mustardy shade, and I'm grabbing it with the number 5 brush by Wayne Goss, which is one of my favorite pencil brushes. And then I'm using that as a transition for the shade Deep Dive, which is the darkest shade in the palette. And I'm using the rougher number 29, which is again the definer brush. And I'm gonna just line and smudge Deep Dive into my lower lash line just to make my black liner look more sultry and smoky. And I'm even creating a wing on the inner corner of my eye, like a little feline tip. I just love doing that because it elongates my eyes and it makes them look way more almond shaped. You guys, that's it for the eyeshadow. Now I'm going in with my Scandalized by Rimmel to line my waterline, and then I'm going in with my Hint Dash liner to enhance my wing and my inner feline tip. Okay, you guys, so this is the finished look and I'm super happy about it. I think it's so pretty. I just really enjoy the way it turned out. To be honest, when I use this palette, I find myself loving the look. So to finish the look, I did this off camera, but I'm using the shade Slip by Merit. This is the lightweight lipsticks, and oh my goodness, you guys, I've been using other lipsticks for the past month, and when I used this today, I was just obsessed with it again. I love the way this feels on the lips. They are super balmy and beautiful, and they're buildable. You can see that they can be quite opaque without having any weight whatsoever on the lips. I just adore this formula. I think if you're looking for a lipstick and you're not a lipstick lover like me, and you prefer tinted lip balms because of how easy they are to apply, this is one for you, for sure. I will leave everything linked below. Now let's just talk about what I used on the rest of my face. So for my primer today, I went in with my Hollywood Flawless filter in the shade 1, and I applied it in the sides of my face because in the center of my face this will make me oily. And the reason why I went in with this one is because of the foundation that I'm using today, and it's one that I'm trying to finish. It's a really old foundation that I have. It's not available anymore, and this is the Huda Beauty Full Filter Foundation, the original one in the shade Creme Brulee. I only have this left, so I'm gonna see if I can finish it filming these type of videos, the Natasha Denona looks. But it's a foundation that I was loving a lot on my makeup artist kit, and then they discontinued it and replaced it with something else. And then for my concealer, I went in with my L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour full wear, and I wear mine in the shade Cashmere 360. This is a beautiful concealer, and it has a big doe foot applicator like the Tarte Shape Tape. For my cream bronzer, I went in with the Makeup by Mario Soft Coat Transforming Skin Enhancer in the shade Light Medium. This is one of my favorite cream bronzers. I don't know if I already posted Bronzer Week because I think I'm short of a video, but these, you guys, is top notch. Since I got it, I've used it a lot. For a month I used it every single day, and it's just so beautiful. I didn't think that I was gonna love it. This one and the Merit sheer balm bronzers are just phenomenal. for when you don't want something super sculpted, but you wanna look sort of sculpted in a natural way. Then to set everything, I went in with my Too Faced Peach Perfect powder. I wear mine in translucent Peach Whisper, which is the original shade. I found that I needed to pull this out to just complete the look. I went in with my Natasha Denona Bronze Cheek Palette, and this one, I love the blush so much. I've talked about this before, and I had pan in the Putty highlighter, which I'm also wearing today, but since it's a Putty formula, I repressed it. And then I'm wearing all of the shades. These as a bronzer topper, these as a topper of the cream highlighter, and this one as my only blush. And this blush, you guys, this is so beautiful. I don't know if you guys can tell on camera, but I love the way this looks. I applied a little bit underneath my powder and then a little bit on top, and this formula works beautifully on top of powder. And then for the bronzer that I used to sculpt my face, I went in with the M Cosmetics Corset Sculpting Powder Bronzer, which is this one right here. It's a matte bronzer. I saw reviews saying this was good, but not wow, and it was a great formula, but it's not something different. I don't need something different, I need something that works, and this one works. I love the way it performs on the skin, I love the way it blends, I love the color. It's a beautiful one. I would happily add this type of bronzer to my makeup artistry kit. And to buff my makeup, I went in with a dual fiber brush and then my palette, and I'm using Soft Light by Hourglass every single day to buff my face. And I guess that's it for this video, you guys. For my brows, I didn't do anything since I recently tinted them. I only applied clear brow gel, and that was it. If you are enjoying my Natasha Denona look series, stay tuned because there are a lot more videos to come. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment before you go letting me know or telling me anything you feel that you want to see here on my channel. I do project planning content, a lot of Natasha Denona content. That's it, you guys. Don't forget to subscribe before you go. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow for another look with a Natasha Denona palette. Bye. I love you.